All right, we are back live into game 2. Sides will remain the same as MZRY selected blue side. The bans are going to be easy to play out because there's only bans on one side. As a reminder, oh, none being hovered, almost locked because they were still thinking about bans. Vladimir, Pantheon, Udyr are going to be the bans. Those are 2 targeted at jungle, and the Vladimir targeted at Bubble. Their mid laner plays a ton of Vladimir. The jungler also plays a ton of Pantheon as Smolder will be the lock, recently getting some buffs, bringing them back into the forefront. I'm expecting this to be bottom lane only because I feel like the Corky Smolder flexes mid are a little bit fake down in this elo. Unless your name's like Chovy, you really shouldn't be screwing around with it.
Unless your name's Cosem. I'm just saying it now. Oh,
A big,
unless your name's
big
Cosem.
AD carry and mid lane enjoyer.
I'm a big Smolder, Ezreal, Corky Tristana enjoyer.
Oh, I love Ashe in competitive play. Just received a buff that seems minor, but is actually massive. Her Q stacks on turret shots now. So you can pretty much permanently have her Q active in lane. And will allow them to take turret plates faster, push the waves in faster, fight on the turret boundary better. So I think Ashe receiving a bunch of damage buffs over the past couple of patches and now getting this quality of life buff, just really pushing to the forefront of competitive play. Also great to Smolder because of the ability to catch the champ out. Might force another cleanse game on the AD carry, and we saw in laning phase how destructive it is for the bottom laner to not have barrier. Really limits your ability to trade. As the Viego locked for Cloud wants some skirmishing power, and will be answered by Sejuani Yone. So they're trying to stick with the strategy of last game of having a strong jungle mid duo. So we're going to have to see whether or not that pays off. Cosem, what do you think of getting that Yone with the Sejuani in the jungle?
Yon Sedge is a great combo. You don't want to see Kosum Yon. That's an experience that nobody should have to bear witness to. But I love the Mel count. No, Mel is such a good pick into Yon. You can, funny enough, good interaction. You can one-shot Yon with one item if he Q3s onto you. If you press W, you guarantee land your root, and you guarantee land your Q. And one auto attack, you can basically 100 to 0 Yon with one combo.
Whenever we talked about playing Yone mid, because when we were the patch we were playing on Yone was broken. It was before they got rid of the cleanse on his E. So we always had it like first pick available. And I asked, if you're on the other side, Humor, like they first pick it, what do you want to play? And he said Mel every time.
Yep.
You can just obliterate this champion from level 2.
Yep.
If you just like cheat early, get like that reflect, that like early power that Yasuo and Yone have to be able to like jump on your head and knock you up, you just can't do it.
No, it's so hard to play into. Obviously, once you get it out, you can try and re-engage with it because Q3 or Q is a lot lower cooldown for Yone than Mel W, but it's so difficult for the laning phase if Mel properly spaces and uses her W when she's really only looking to land an unbelievably favorable trade for Mel.
Poppy Braum bans are going to come out to protect their team from honestly having to play those champions. They aren't big fans of having to play either of them. But let's see what the one real ban is going to be for MZRY Frost. The Thresh, that's pretty smart. Don't want to have to deal with that again. And with Smolder being, I hate to say this, but I think they've got to be talking about Bard. As Ornn will be the lock-in. This is one of Moon's favorite picks to grab for Super. And it makes total sense. You've got, full damage jungle, full damage mid. Ashe does scale pretty well into the game in terms of damages. Cassante is chosen as the counter. I really feel like this champion has fallen off a cliff in terms of like actual ability. I don't know if it was a result of the nerfs directly, but this champion has not been performing well in any competitive scene.
You have to be a big main of Cassante to be able to make him still do Cassante moments. But I have seen some 20% health Cassantes press R and solo kill full health targets multiple times if you are good enough at Cassante.
The real Cassante is still in there. It's just how deep do you gotta dig to get it out. As Tom
Yeah.
Kench will be selected to round out. I hate this champ, in a sense that I think it's really useless.
Okay.
The eat is cool, and the big shield is great, but you have to put yourself in whatever position the champion you're eating is in to do anything, as Maokai support will be the selection as we do load into game, looking at our keystones. See anything crazy. Cassante opting for the Aftershock, going to make him very obnoxious to deal with in lane. Fleet footwork for Smolder gets them through a lot of dangerous situations throughout the early and mid game while that scaling is working. The other thing, I kept bringing up scaling and getting caught up on Ashe because of how much I was excited to talk about it, but the other reason I brought it up is because when you pair any team with Ornn, you have to remember when looking at the gold graph that Ornn is adding 5,000 gold worth of value to the team at like level, I think it's 17 as 5 stack, walking in, arc, not looking at a screen, flashes over the wall, but when you stand in that tri-brush, it forces you to walk in a dangerous path. If they have CC, Ignite goes down, and over the wall, first blood for Humor. We are not going to have a repeat of last game. Humor wants to start this lane off looking good.
He's literally in the best spot to see them coming, and he doesn't react to it. Okay.
Well,
It's
he
a very-
does just late. He flashed late for the Maokai W.
He also should just walk upwards as well.
What did he start? Did he start Q? Because I think you have to start E at that point. He started
He could
Q.
also,
Yeah.
he also could have just started W and like made it better for himself as well. Get
Yeah.
5 stacks for free, and they have to burn Maokai Flash.
Yeah, that's why if you ever suspect, and obviously you never know for sure unless you have some crazy scouting, but if you ever suspect that they're going to invade through Tri, you want to stand in that bush that's in between the two towers and stand just above the wall so you can see them walk down out of the tri-brush and then just hook around the wall so that the only way they can CC you is with projectiles that go through it.
Yep.
But you obviously can't know for sure if they're invading or not. And luckily for Smolder, able to get back to lane in time for the minions to crash. So the only one, this feels like a little bit of a solo game experience where the only one who's going to really have to deal with the ramifications is the mid laner. And they're like, bro, why'd you feed my lane?
Getting boots
it was already
early
hard
is
enough.
so crazy too. You get to dodge
It was
the
already
Q3
hard
so
enough.
much easier.
So he either gets to dodge it when he doesn't want to get hit by it, or when he has his W up, can just walk right into it and pull the W and just get it for free. As Viego going down bot already, took the entire bot side of their jungle. Resilient going to pick up the kill.
Oh
and
no,
Smolder
Sedge is checking his bot side instead of just invading top.
Nah, there's no way we're
Okay,
doing that. Oh
okay,
my
we're
God.
walking back up. We're walking back
Figured it
up.
out. Someone
Okay.
told them,
Oh,
just go top.
I was about to be so worried for him.
Still going to be incredibly dangerous. If I'm Viego here, I grab blue and sprint topside. You have so much push with your Mel mid, and you have full vision. You can totally just collapse on the Sejuani, and now you wouldn't have just put bot side behind. You'll also be really harming the jungler. Sejuani hasn't been doing anything this entire time. Now going onto that Raptor camp as Yone walking way too far forward. Already used that Spirit Unbound, and Maokai is here, fully stunned, fully snared. Kill going to go over
no.
to Mel. And at 3 minutes, we have 3 kills. The only sign of life is Ish, who is doing Cassante things top lane.
We didn't even get the We got the Raptor camp. That we at
Eventually,
least got the Raptor camp.
They got some of them, because they only had 14 CS, so they've got a couple of them, and then it despawns. So they must have gotten the big one. But yeah, I mean, I'm a psychic. Viego took blue buff, and then with Maokai, just roamed right up as Sejuani now going mid. The Reflect has been used, but they're not able to land any of the projectiles. The E will come through, but Yone goes back to
saving
their
flash.
Spirit and won't be able to follow up. Doesn't even flash, doesn't even flinch, just walks away. Uses that extra movement speed, and now as we cut, about the only downside you can see is Maokai level 2, but it doesn't really matter because they're just going to collect this wave under tower. That mid gank isn't useless, does force Mel to use the teleport to get back to lane with only a tier and an amp tome. Also has the Sapphire Crystal, so going to have some more
We could have
flat
had
mana.
we could have Dark Seal instead of the Sapphire.
Could have had Dark Seal. That is a great point. And as you know, as org owner, I'm sure that there will be some reprimanding in there coming down for humor. As you're only going to get a little bit of damage down. Super doing their job, soaking up top side, just getting experience and gold where they can. Ornn is one of the more fun weak side tanks because late game you do a ton of damage, you get massive knockups. It's very fun to play. So, I mean, in comp, one of my least favorite things to hear in comp is like, oh, this champ's really good here. They're like, I don't want to. It's not fun. And I'm like, I want to win.
I don't understand the it's not fun. Ornn is a bruiser, assassin, mage, fighter, tank. That guy can one-shot you. Dragon Slayer. Oh, there's the reflex.
There.
This
Speaking
is actually
of what's fun, I think Yone's fun here, but it looks like it's doing not very good personally.
I will actually say Bubble there played that about as well as you can once you get the E or the Q3 reflected back, because he didn't immediately like unbound expecting damage. He just kept trading and was able to get a shield to reflect most of the damage Mel wanted to do. So that's how you want to play it. But now Cloud able to grab that Chemtech Dragon. So once again, the soul stacking has begun. As Hextech will be next. They want those new dragons.
There actually is a kill opportunity mid, knowing that Mel does not have W and Yon is now level 6. If he actually like goes in soon, he actually can force a flash or kill Mel.
Mel's W is back up.
Yeah, we really haven't seen the Sejuani mid a lot, even though it's definitely the gank you, like the lane you want to be in.
Yeah.
Opting to go for those Raptors once again, so certainly no. And it looks like Bubble trying to bait out the W there. Sedge would have been able to just join from over the wall. No ultimate yet, though. So, not going to be the most help, as Smolder does have 25 stacks. So, getting a little bit there, as Cassante has this Ornn in a pretty good position for the Sejuani. Knock-up and all-out will prevent the Ornn Horn from sounding fully, and the kill
It went to Sedge.
goes on to Sedge, so not the best for Cassante, who's got the Negatron cloak. Not really sure what that's for. Maybe just already expecting that this Mel is going to be a nightmare. Although I haven't...
That builds into Gauntlet still, I think, right?
Ornn, also Ornn does pure magic damage basically with his passives, right? So
yeah, I was just gonna check. I was like, I don't know what does Brittle do?
Yeah, it's all magic damage.
Bonus magic damage, but yep.
And
so
he's building
not
Jack
terrible
Show,
damage.
so
Yep. As we are, we'll mention for the stream viewers at home, screen looks great, stream looks great. Love the overlays. For us watching over here, Cosem, very laggy.
Oh, is it laggy right now?
I tried to restart it and I black screened.
All right,
but luckily,
let me try and change that real quick.
Humor again surviving a pretty decent exchange there on the Yone, and now this is how great a caster we are. We're doing it blind as Yone going in, getting the jump onto Mel. We flash back, and the Glacial Prison will secure the kill.
That's not what you want to see.
So Humor again, just not really respecting the timer on the map that Grubs is spawning. Of course, the jungler is going to be in the area, and they know that Sejuani is not bot side because Viego is taking all of those camps. So just a bit of a misplay there for Mel, and the only saving grace, I would say, is that the kill did go on to Sejuani again, and Sejuani still hasn't backed. So, not going to have the actual benefits of all of those kills, but luckily...
College tuition funds going on.
Yeah, Sejuani's not getting pressured right now. As Machi taking a ton of damage, decides to go in with Viego in the corner, but has to get out. Smolder will flash to make sure there's no counter engage possible, as Ornn is just gonna dash out of that engage.
Did the stream quality increase?
It's perfect now.
Okay.
I would say I would have liked to have just seen the cleanse and not the flash, because there really was not anything to flash for.
Yeah, but have you considered how scary Maokai is?
Well, it was on the Viego stun, I think was the thought process. But...
Wait, if
Sure,
they
also
keep...
flash expended, flash forward, so cleanse is now being utilized. Ultimate comes down, Mom does a ton of damage and forces the Maokai away. That was a great trade for the side of MZRY.
Ash actually messed up there when she popped the ghost and went forward. I'm just not talking to the fight now.
Super Saiyan with a great flash, making moves, flash forward, forced out of Cassante, and that certainly means the kill will go down, dash forward. And now bot lane, Nature's Grasp comes through, and the flash forward is going to be there for God's glory. Now we'll steal the Smolder, grab some stacks of their own, get the kill onto Tahm Kench, and Sejuani will have to dash away as Tahm, now on the enemy team, almost getting that knockup. Fights on both sides of the map, and while top lane certainly favors MZRY, bot lane going all in favor of Phantom Troupe.
That's what I was gonna say. Was earlier the Ash messed up by popping Ghost and getting hit by the Tahm Kench tongue, and considering that Maokai was really far and separated from Ash and was going on to Smolder without Ash like being in position and already being slowed. If they actually just turned onto Maokai actually just dies there for free because he has no flash and he has no ignite. Ash also can potentially die there because Tahm Kench's base damage is actually nothing to laugh at either.
And he also has that Kindle gem, so at least had the Ruby Crystal, which is not only health but damage for Tahm. I also don't know what happened to Ash ult during that whole thing. I think they may have either missed it or not layered it correctly with the cleanse being up, as Yone going to get knocked into themselves once again, but sticking around, Viego is in the vicinity as now some supportal combat over a control ward. Control ward would just be regened as Gristle Prison hits again. Flash would have to be expended. But that fate is sealed. The bubble does take a lot of damage, is going to give that soul over to Viego. And if the soul does unbound, there will be a kill opportunity here. The Q does not hit, but the Heartbreaker will be true. Sejuani dead, double kill for Cloud. And, you know, this is something that I don't love the champ Viego in comp just because I am not a huge carry jungler fan. But if you're playing it this well, just running around grabbing tills, the Viego is going to be a very tough time to deal with as we get into these next objective fights.
We might be dead again. Oh, okay, we did that correctly, and we're out.
Yep, super. I remember the first scrim we ever had. We were able to first pick Gwen, and this is when it was like disgustingly broken, so I didn't take it like super into account. But he was the person I had the least time to talk with, and he just ran up and smashed the top lane as Enchanted Crystal Arrow goes completely wide. Viego doesn't get the W off, ends up missing it, but Mel already has enough stacks to hit that execute. He was just standing there waiting for the soul to become bound once again as Sapling will cancel the ultimate. Might have been doing a little bit of window shopping as the Nature's Grasp is going to allow for the cancellation of the Tahm Kench knockup. Not going to be able to actually follow that up with the kill. Maybe if they had that Enchanted Crystal Arrow, could have been able to grab that kill bottom lane, but gonna have to try again on this dive attempt. Minions have gone through. Ash able to stack up the Q on the tower. I told you it was going to be important. Now getting it here. Maokai not able to get rid of that turret aggro as Humor is just standing here. Knockup will come through. Humor heartbreaks out. Turns back into Viego, ends up getting no HP, will get shut down.
That's huge.
That's huge.
Misplay by Cloud, and that's why you don't let him play carries.
The one mistake, yeah.
The Sedge actually goes and takes the Raptors too. That's big as well because he loses all that.
Going to definitely take advantage of that situation, and you know, other than that slight problem at the end, I'm not sure why the teleport came through from Humor. He likes to be part of the mix, but well executed, I would say, by MZRY even, because they were Spoilers Goldie. They were able to dodge a lot of the damage. They forced Maokai to not get that regen as the knockups are just unbelievable-ish, taking so much damage. There's 4 people that are punishing you for those proxy waves, but
if
going to be answered bot lane.
If Yone actually had just moved down while that was being called, Ash is dead here, but unfortunately that is not going to happen.
Ash
Yep,
is
but
dead
Ash
here.
might be dead just anyway.
Okay.
Resilient, losing his mind, has to flash out, but now walking forward again. Teleport coming through from behind. That is going to be Ornn, and the horn has sounded. Sejuani is in a bad spot. Tahm Kench almost dead, gets his heart broken, and now Tom is on the other team. Knockup will land onto Sejuani. Mom comes through for a good amount of damage, but God's Glory looking for redemption under the bot tower, and he will find the exact same result. Not going to go down this time, but another kill into the pocket of Sejuani. You would have hoped that Smolder could grab that, but they are completely flanked. Smolder just trying to get as much CS as possible. Flash forward from Katie to Kid will not land, and Smolder might actually be able to go up here and execute. Looks like that will be the case as Ish gets the first tower top lane. Ends up actually not being terrible again for MZRY, especially like seeing as they were behind at the beginning of that. I would go as far as say failed bot lane dive just because of how much they gave over in return. And then having that play go so long and the execute come through. I think if you're MZRY, you're happy with all that.
I mean, the gold lead's evaporated almost. Like, we're only at a 200 gold lead. And Smolder's so large now.
Yep, and for the first time this entire game, I think, Sejuani farming their bottom camps. Finally getting to be home in their own jungle as Kazate looks to turn things back around onto Viego, doing so much damage and going to get the kill with the flash forward.
Guys, what did we learn about K'Sante? If there's two of you, one of you is dying. You can't be doing that. Even if Mel is 22-0, you're not killing K'Sante as two people.
No, and this is one of their, and this is like legitimately no sarcasm to the side of Cloud, but this is one of the reasons I don't love having carried junglers. I feel like you're not really able to fully utilize any gold leads obtained. You're always kind of relying on another laner being present. The 1v1 power isn't really built into the kits of these champions, so I get worried about when the gold is on that champion. Still 5-2 and 6, still have a lot of gold, still have a lot of items, but Rift Herald going to be secured safely by the side of MZRY. And last game they got it as well. We're able to get the bottom tower because of it, so I'm interested to see what they're able to achieve with this Rift Herald as Dragon spawning in 17 seconds mid-push. Going to be obtained.
Next objective is Feats.
What is Humor doing right now? What was that teleport?
Was he worried about getting dove? I'm not sure.
He teleported from base to the inner turret.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. So we're getting dove bot. I don't know. He's probably the best player on the team, so we'll let him do that. Smolder just get a little bit of Lee syndrome, goes in onto the Rift Herald and cleanses in a sure death scenario, gives the soul over to Viego, and right when it looked like they were starting to build a lead, big mistake, massive throw there from the side of MZRY, going to stop the backs too. Tyler is going to get
wasn't there to
spaced
eat,
out.
I guess, or did we just?
Two things. I think one, it could be a misclick. So let's say if you're trying to CS, because there's this weird thing where like if you actually right click too close to Rift Herald, it prioritizes you going into the Rift. So that's one thing. Second thing, I don't know. I think he just did it for fun. Because why is Boulder taking it of all people?
It is fun to take the Rift Herald.
Getting your driver's license is always fun.
Yeah, well, you know, Smolder, maybe a bit too young for that. Maybe that was the problem. You just, you see that car, you want to go in. Now Humor getting engaged on bot side again. Yone done a pretty good job this game of dealing with the Mel.
Oh, it's also out of laning phase, so Mel actually can die now.
Yes.
Yep. Well,
he had a flash.
Humor was able to do that in lane as well. So
both flashes expended from.
And Bubba looking for an opportunity here. No flash, no fate sealed, so won't be able to get onto Mel if she doesn't want it. But I don't know if Mel saw Sejuani slink into that bush. Now we'll know because of passive.
Yes.
Yep. But this is Humor we're talking about, so he feels confident underneath the turret. He's daring them to come under and fight him as Yone will get executed.
Okay.
Crystal Arrow lands. Sejuani will be followed by the Twisted Advance, and this is just way too many members. Double kill for Humor, absolutely mogged them.
The moment that Sedge walked into that bush, and the moment that wave had already touched the turret is the moment Sedge should already just be walking with Yon
To
under the
dive.
turret.
Yes.
Yes, you are planning to dive. Why are we hesitating on a dive?
Nature's Grass won't land as Smolder
gets
is
eaten.
just going to get jumped on. But Tom Kent, this is the reason you picked the champion, and it didn't work. Going to end with them both dead. Soul to soul is Viego and Tom Kench heading down towards that Otacon, spawning in 23 seconds. As just as quickly as the gold lead evaporated after a couple of misplays bottom lane, it has re-emerged 3K in the favor of Machi.
Seems like they cleaned up their slightly overzealous plays to play a little bit more passive.
Yeah, and now looking to take advantage of Yon's trade attempt onto the Ornn there. Take a minute to look at some of these builds as Ornn items have started to come through. We do see that Sunfire Cape is 162. What are they called? Is it just stacks?
I just call them stacks.
It's just stacks.
I think they're just called stacks too. Usually they try and give them some sort of name, but are going to have 162, so does have those 3 little fireballs that come out, but still quite a ways from the execute damage. Doing well on items. Ashe opting to go for the more on-hit oriented build. I do think that this one is a little bit better in terms of having steady damage throughout the game. The crit build, you really don't have any damage until you complete a couple of items.
But IE second
IE
is so weird
second, he already messed up his build.
Yeah, you don't ever build IE on Ashe unless you're going for like full crit chance, because you don't actually, Ashe is not able to crit as a champion. You just get enhanced slowed. Although does the crit
No,
or
you're
does
allowed
IE
to crit. You get increased damage on the
You
crit
get increased damage and
with the
slow.
Q. Yeah.
But I don't. Does it increase the slow amount?
Yes.
Yes.
With an IE?
Slow amount, and you do damage, more damage.
But you just
like
need one
it-
crit item before IE. You
Yeah,
need
so Resilient messed up, and it's not supposed to be Kraken IE, it's supposed to be Kraken PD into IE. So he messed up.
Yes. But yeah, you get the enhanced slow, you get an increased damage. They added that back into Ashe's kit because she was completely worthless in terms of scaling, but now she gets her bonus damage on crits again.
Yeah, well, I'm checking here. Critical strikes do not deal any additional damage. It makes her basic attacks deal more damage based on a percentage of her crit chance. So it buffs all of your auto attacks, but you can't ever critically strike. But when you would critically strike, you instead critically slow.
Gotcha.
So that's why I don't like Infinity Edge, because you can get other crit items that have other good stats, like Yuntal's. If you don't want to go Phantom Dancer for like the ghost effect, you can go Yuntal's for the extra attack speed and the move speed if you don't need it. But IE, that like enhanced crit amp, is never going to happen.
Oh, that's
because you're never going to crit.
Okay.
So you can still go, like, I actually am a fan of like flat damage Ashe, where you go Kraken Slayer or that Kraken item I always forget the name of, into like Bloodthirster, and just say like, I'm never gonna like spike damage, I'm just always gonna be okay at damage, as the Ornn Horn hits a good field goal right through the middle. But Ashe will find Sejuani on the wrong side. Soul Unbound will put Yon in a tough situation. Heartbreaker will be the end, as Tom Kent is next up on the menu. KD the Kid diving into the backline, putting Cassante on a silver platter for the rest of the team, but Smolder started to do a decent amount of damage, and Ish is surviving for a long time, but Viego has dove the backline. Melt is there, and massive execute going to come through. A clean ace all the way from mid lane to the bottom jungle for the side of Phantom Troupe Machi.
Soul and Otacon now.
Everything. Give them the whole map.
Yeah.
I want to, you know, now that we're just kind of backing up, going to look at some items now that Soul is going to come through. Very well executed fight will result in the Soul coming through and the Otacon. Cloud Soul will be very good for Ornn, for Ashe, especially for Maokai. KD opting to go for the Trailblazer, which I think is a pretty decent item. Like I saw when we talked earlier about Maokai's kit being so strong, I think that there's a lot of a lot of good reason on champions with really strong kits to go for items that buff up your teammates. It might not be the best items, but you're strong because of your buttons. So you don't really need to make your buttons any stronger. So I like the Trailblazer build. For the Viego in the jungle, I know Cosm's a mid laner. I don't know what role you play, Steve, but I don't love the Kraken into Titanic. I think you gotta kind of pick your lane if you're gonna go more of like a bruiser Viego build or more damage oriented.
Well, the damage-oriented build is what, like Collector IE or something like that?
So there's two builds. There's Kraken, Titanic, and there's Trinity Force Collector Shield Bow.
Okay.
There once was another build where you go full Crave Viego, where you go Essence Reaver first, and then it was, I believe, Essence, IE, Shield Bow, or Essence Shield Bow IE was one of the two. But I know two of his builds right now are the Kraken Titanic and the
is not making it out of this. We should not have flashed Humor.
He may be making it out of this. The chain will fully land and the sun will come through. Teleport is going to protect, but able to dodge enough. What is Smolder doing there?
Smolder has execute.
Has execute, so maybe able to turn this around with some healing coming through, but Mom will not be there in time. Only comes through to see her son die. So tragic, so sad. As Smolder 3, 9, and 1.
Man.
And in return, Resilient having quite the series for himself. Cloud also had a couple of missteps in that bottom lane. Almost died 3 times diving bot tower, but recovered quite well. Ends up, I think he went down top lane into Cassante once, but having those 2 full items, fully upgraded boots with these new feats. I like that they're actually good now. Have a reason to build the items. As Tom, wrong side of the map, Enchanted Crystal Arrow will land, and Viego is just going to shred through as Resilient grabs another kill. Infinity Edge upgraded. I don't know any of these Orin item names. I ain't even going to try and pretend like I do.
I think
with the rapid...
Do they even have them anymore? I think they just...
They still they have...
no, it's just Masterwork now.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's happy. But
I missed the names.
The ornaments? I would still call them ornaments. That's one of the greatest, like, colloquial terms come up by the League of Legends fan base is ornaments.
Yes.
As those upgrades. I love that. So, with the Sunfire, the Rabadon's Deathcap, and the Infinity Edge all being completed, that means that the 8k gold lead for the side of Machi is actually an 11k gold lead, because the fun fact that pretty much everyone knows, but I'll say it anyway, Orin items give approximately 1,000 gold worth of stats in upgrades.
Yes.
So the gold lead gets a bit muddied when you have this guy.
Well, and I also consider Drake's is about 1,000 gold per Drake.
Yep.
Which, as we see for Drakes and Soul,
just
Smolder almost one-shot himself.
Also, as we were talking about that, another ornament has come through, the Kraken Slayer, as Glacial Prism will come through and hit KD, but there isn't any follow-up damage. They are the ones getting followed up on as Uba Awesome running down bot side. Ish is here too. All 5 members of Machi are here. Tom will go down first in the backline with that damage from Mel, and the Soul Unbound will get there. Somehow, Cassante ends up all out himself out of there. I think it got reflected by Mel, but it still will be followed by the Enchanted Crystal Arrow knocked up high in the sky as the Sejuani, and will go down as well. And with Smolder and Yone as the lone survivors for MZRY, Yone is still trying to get back to base as Smolder doing everything the little dragon can. Resilient sprinting forward as he is one to do, and with Baron buff activated, with Ornn upgrading the final item, that Masterwork Trailblazer. I'm sure you don't see that every day. God's Glory taking a lot of damage. Yone is going to go very low, executed in the
Triumph saved God's Glory. He was about to get executed.
Smolder here getting a ton of damage in the fountain, executes one member, just gets stunned, but the whole time the Nexus was destroyed. GG, Phantom Troupe Machi 2-0 on the set and 2-0 in Titan Eternals.